I like it. The Google Pixel 9 Pro. Go Simon.
Hi, I'm Simon, and today I'm going to be looking at this device. This is the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL, made by Google obviously, and it runs on the Android operating system. There are two dominant operating systems in the world today on smartphones. There's Apple's iOS and there's Google's Android. In the United States, iOS has the greater market share with around about 57%, with Android on the remaining 42%. In the rest of the world, however, the story is different. There, Android has 72% and iOS 28%. Android is written by and launched by Google under the AOSP, which is the Android Open Source Project. They make it available to other manufacturers. Other manufacturers, like Samsung for example, will take that operating system and then they will put their own look on top of it. You would think, given that Google create the Android operating system and this is their own phone, it would be as close to pure Android as you can get. I have been using this phone in Western Australia since it was launched last year. I got it in September, and so I've been using it for a fair few months now, and I'm not convinced that it's pure Android any longer. Let's have a look. The phone weighs 221 grams. It has 16 gigabytes of RAM, and this particular model, one I've bought, has 512 gigabytes of internal storage. They have storage options from 128 gigabytes right up to 1 terabyte. At launch, it had Android 14 OS, and that was upgraded soon after in October to Android 15. Usually when Google launches a new phone, they like to put the latest operating system on it. However, last year they brought forward the launch of the hardware to August, whereas previously it used to be in October. I think they will correct that this year and they're bringing forward the launch of the next one. On the rear we have a triple camera setup, and obviously we have a selfie camera on the front, and we'll look at those a bit more in detail in a minute. This particular model costs $2,199, $2,200 here in Western Australia, so 2,200 Australian dollars. So yeah, it's flagship specs. Okay, so let's take a look at the design and build of the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL. It is a large phone with that 6.8-inch screen, but it's made out of premium materials. It has glass on the back and the front, and it has the stainless steel edges around it. This does make it rather slippery, however, and I have had instances where I've tried pulling it out of my pocket and the camera bar here has snagged a bit on the jeans, and I all thought I was going to drop it, so you may need a case with this device. Fortunately, because it's a fairly popular phone, there are quite a few choices of case. On the side here, on the right-hand side, we have the power button at the top, and we have the volume rocker underneath this. Quite why Google chooses to do it this way round, whereas most other manufacturers have the power button on the bottom, is a mystery. Probably just want to be distinctive, I guess. Why, I don't know, but they do. On the bottom, we have the USB-C charging port. Alongside this, the SIM tray. And the other side, we have a speaker, and we also have a microphone. And that's pretty much it on the phone. The only other thing is a microphone on the very top of the phone as well. As I say, feels good, feels premium. Nice phone to hold in your hand, but I do think you're probably going to need a case if you're going to be a bit butterfingers with it. Fortunately, there are a few case options. I've got a few here, choices. And my own particular favourite is this particular one. This is made by a company called Pitaka, and this is made out of carbon fibre, so it's very light, very minimalist, very thin. It does have the magnetic ring, so if you're using a magnetically held charger or something like that, or maybe a magnet holder in your car, this will work great for that. It slips on fairly easily, like so. And once on, it provides a bit of protection, certainly scratch protection, and protection on the back, a bit of a raised lip around the camera bar, which helps, and not much raised on the front, just a little bit, but it is much more grippy. It makes the phone much easier to hold and use day to day, and I don't worry so much about slipping. I actually think it looks rather nice as well. The Google Pixel 9 Pro XL has a 6.8-inch LPTO OLED display. It supports from 1 to 120 Hz refresh rate, and that means the phone is nice and smooth in use and buttery to scroll around. Brightness wise, it goes up to 3000 nits peak brightness and up to 2000 nits peak brightness in HDR mode, which is good for when you're consuming media or perhaps gaming. And outside, it should mean that it's usable in fairly bright sunlight. I've certainly not had major problems with this particular aspect of the display. So here we are in Western Australia on a beautiful sunny day. The screen is at maximum brightness, but it is very readable even in bright sunshine like this. Google have done a good job with the brightness of this screen, making it easy to read even outdoors on a sunny day. Could it be better? Well, yes. There's one feature I really wish this phone had, in fact I wish every phone had, and that is the feature that is on the new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. This has an anti-reflective layer on the phone, and outside in bright sunlight or indoors under bright light, it doesn't mean there are no light showing on the phone, but it certainly reduces them and makes the screen more readable, and I wish other manufacturers would adopt this technology. Performance-wise, the Tensor G4 chip inside the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL is a step up over last year's G3. It's faster, it's cooler, and it's better at multitasking. It means you can run games like Genshin Impact and Call of Duty Mobile without issue. It also has a Titan M2 security coprocessor, as well as a trusted execution environment. These help with privacy and security. The benchmarks of other chips like the Apple A18 and the Snapdragon 8 Elite show that they are faster than the G4 inside the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL. However, in day-to-day use, I haven't found any issues with the chipset and how well it works. Google seem to have optimized the software to work well with the chipset. Camera specifications. On the rear, in the signature Pixel camera bar, we have 3 cameras. From left to right, there is a 48 megapixel ultra-wide camera with f1.7 aperture and 123 degree field of view. The main camera is a 50 megapixel wide camera with an f1.68 aperture and 82 degree field of view. Finally, there is a 48 megapixel telephoto camera with f2.8 aperture and 22 degree field of view. This offers an optical zoom of 5 times and a digital zoom up to 30 times. Alongside the cameras are the LED flash and some additional sensors that help with color accuracy and reducing flicker in artificial lighting. Turning to the front of the phone, on the front we have a 42 megapixel selfie camera with an f2.2 aperture and 103 degree field of view. What helps with the cameras is the useful software that Google puts on their phones. It has some features that perhaps you might not use. AdMe is one I've never used, but others like Magic Eraser I use quite often if I want to remove people in the background of a photo I've taken. Generally, what I like about the cameras is the ease of use. I don't have to mess around, I don't have to change a lot of settings to get a decent photo straight away. And that, for me, is exactly what I want out of a camera. Is this pure Android photography? Maybe not. But it is pure Google photography, and I'm okay with that. Software and features. The Google Pixel 9 Pro runs Android 15. It's super clean, there's no bloatware, and it's smooth and fast. It's a good version of Android. Google, however, does put some of their own features on top of this. Some of these are very useful AI features in photo editing and in messaging and writing, and some are less useful to me anyway. But they do put some extra features on there. Google also offers 7 years of OS updates, and that's huge. That's a very good benefit to have. Is it pure Android? This is where the conversation gets a bit murky. It's clean, it's fast, there's no bloatware. However, I do not believe it is any longer pure Android. not like the Android you used to get on the Nexus phones years ago. This is Google Android. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the pros and cons of this particular device, the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL. What I do like is it's got a gorgeous display, it's classic pixel camera quality, it's clean, fast software with no bloatware, the long update promise up to 7 years, and some of the AI features I think are genuinely useful. On the con side, it's expensive here in Australia. The Tensor still isn't the fastest chip around, probably okay for now, but how future-proof is it? And there is some lack of customization, particularly on the home screen, where I would at least like the option to move the Google search bar to where I want it on the screen. The phone is large and a little bit slippery, and as I said, a case is probably a must. You might say that being non-stock Android is also a downside. I'm not sure that is the case, but I'll put it in that column. When we look at pricing and value, as mentioned before, the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL costs 2,200 Australian dollars. That's quite expensive. If you compare it to things like the iPhone 16 Pro Max and Samsung's Galaxy S25 Ultra, it's not too bad. However, when you compare it to phones like the OnePlus 13, with a similar specification here in Australia, that phone is available for $1,450. If you're interested in a bit more information about OnePlus 13, I've also done a review on that phone. Please take a look. The Google Pixel 9 Pro XL has a great screen. It's fast, there's no bloatware. It has excellent software, excellent features. If that's the phone for you, then you won't have made a bad choice. The Pixel 9 Pro XL is Google's most polished phone to date. It nails the basics and adds some useful features on top of that. Is the Pixel 9 Pro XL pure Android? No. It's Google Android. And that may be okay for you. The 9 series was released in August last year. If Google sticks to the same schedule this year, the Google Pixel 10 series should be released in August. That's only a few months away. So should you wait? If the rumours turn out to be true, Google Pixel 10 series will look very similar to the Pixel 9 series. It will have a faster Tensor G5 chip inside, and it may have a slightly larger battery. However, rumours also indicate the price may go up by around 150 Australian dollars. Usually in the run-up to the release of a new phone, Google will start to do offers on the previous one, the Pixel 9 series. So it may be worth holding out for those offers if that interests you. I personally love the balance of the clean software and easy use hardware. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. If you like, you can also ding the notification bell, and then you'll get notified about any future videos. Don't worry, you're not going to get inundated with them. I only do them occasionally. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Wow, you survived. I'm so pleased.